Have you ever wondered why some women seem to linger in memory like a haunting melody long after their presence has faded from the room? It is not the superficial beauty of a face, nor the fleeting charm of a smile that grants her this power. Jung would say it is something far deeper, an echo of the unconscious that grips the soul and refuses to release its hold. A woman becomes unforgettable not because she entertains a man's ego, but because she unsettles it, awakens it, and reflects back to him the parts of himself he cannot bear to face or dares not yet claim. She is unforgettable because she is not merely a person, she is an archetype. She is the living embodiment of the anima, the eternal feminine that dwells within the male unconscious. When she appears, she does not simply walk into his life, she erupts into his psyche, stirring long-buried shadows and illuminating desires he never knew resided in him. To encounter such a woman is to collide with one's own myth, and myths are not easily forgotten. Imagine the man who meets her. At first, he may see only her outer form, but quickly he feels something unnerving. She is a mirror, a soul reflection, an image of his inner feminine that has been waiting in silence. She awakens dreams, visions, and fantasies he cannot rationally explain. Suddenly, the world feels larger, more dangerous, more alive. She is not remembered because she conforms to his expectations, but because she shatters them. She does not soothe his ego, she disturbs it, and in that disturbance lies her unforgettable power. Yet, the truth is more complex. The unforgettable woman is not only an archetype projected onto her by others, she is also a force within herself. She is unforgettable because she carries her own depth, her own scars, her own fire. She has touched her shadow and made peace with the parts of herself the world told her to bury. She knows the language of pain and the alchemy of transformation. She has been broken, perhaps, but she has rebuilt herself in silence piece by piece until she walks not as someone needing validation, but as someone who has already faced the abyss and survived. Such a woman cannot be reduced to an ornament or a conquest. Her presence demands respect because her energy reveals what is hidden. She awakens not only the man who beholds her, but anyone who crosses her path. And here lies the paradox. Many will try to possess her, yet possession is impossible. She belongs to herself first, and that sovereignty is precisely what etches her into memory. For you who are listening, perhaps you have felt this energy. Perhaps you have encountered someone who refused to play by the quiet scripts of compliance, someone who left you feeling both captivated and exposed. Or perhaps you have been this woman, carrying within you the quiet knowing that your essence unsettles as much as it attracts. The unforgettable woman does not seek to be remembered, yet she is remembered precisely because she lives authentically, beyond the masks society prescribes. Carl Jung understood that love, attraction, and memory are never only personal, they are also symbolic. The woman who becomes unforgettable is often remembered not just for who she is, but for what she represents in the unconscious. She might embody innocence to one, wildness to another, wisdom to a third. She becomes larger than herself, a vessel of archetypal meaning. And when the psyche touches the archetypal, it does not forget. But this unforgettable nature comes at a cost. Such a woman often walks a lonely road. She knows what it is to be misunderstood, idolized, or feared. Many project their own longings onto her without ever truly seeing her. They fall in love with the reflection she stirs, not the reality she lives. Yet her strength lies in knowing this and not collapsing under it. She learns to differentiate between the projection cast upon her and the truth of her own being. In doing so, she steps closer to individuation, the very journey Jung believed was the purpose of human life. So when you ask why she is unforgettable, the answer is never as simple as beauty or charm. It is because she has dared to embody more. She is the carrier of the anima, the awakener of shadow, the mirror of truth, and the sovereign of her own soul. Her presence compels you to confront not only who she is, but who you are in relation to her. And such encounters carve themselves into the deepest folds of memory. When a woman becomes unforgettable, it is rarely because of the role she plays on the surface. It is because of the forces she awakens beneath it. She unsettles the collective rhythm, reminding others of what lies dormant within them. Jung knew that the psyche clings to what is unresolved, and a woman who stirs inner conflict will never easily fade from memory. She is unforgettable because she brings confrontation, a battle between the known and the unknown, between safety and expansion. To the man who meets her, she is both muse and mirror. She carries the power to reveal his potential, but also the weight of exposing his insufficiencies. He may long for her presence, yet fear it, because she represents more than companionship. She is initiation, and initiation, in Jung's language, is rarely comfortable. She calls him to ascend from boyhood into manhood, from the shallow waters of ego into the storm of transformation. Many resist, yet the memory of her lingers like unfinished work, because the psyche remembers what it could not complete. She does not need to speak loudly to be heard. Sometimes it is in her silence, her unyielding calm, her refusal to collapse into neediness, that she becomes unforgettable. The man sees in her what he cannot fully claim in himself: dignity, wholeness, a refusal to beg for love. This is why, even years later, he may recall her not with bitterness but with awe, because she embodied what his soul longed to integrate. She reminded him of something he needed to become. But her unforgettable nature is not defined only by men's memories. She is unforgettable in the eyes of women too, because she disrupts the quiet hierarchies that keep many bound. She is proof that it is possible to walk without chains, to refuse the script of pleasing, to carry wounds without apology. Women who witness her often feel both envy and inspiration, for she lives the courage they too wish to claim. Her presence ignites questions. What if I stopped apologizing for my power? What if I stopped minimizing my brilliance? What if I too embraced the wildness I was told to hide? She awakens others because she has awakened herself. She has walked through fire, not avoiding the suffering, but metabolizing it into wisdom. Jung spoke often of the shadow, the parts of us we bury, repress, or deny. Most turn away from it, terrified of what they might find. But the unforgettable woman has dared to descend. She has faced her darkness, wrestled with her brokenness, and returned not as a victim, but as one who carries light forged from chaos. This light radiates in ways others cannot define but cannot ignore. For you who listen now, perhaps this truth stirs unease. Perhaps you have been the one who looked into such a woman's eyes and felt your composure unravel. Or perhaps you recognize within yourself the potential to be her, yet you hesitate, knowing that power comes with solitude. Jung would say this is the tension of individuation. The path of becoming whole demands that one break from collective approval, and those who break away are always remembered because they embody the courage others fear. The Stoics, too, knew this power. Seneca wrote that true strength lies not in conquest but in mastery of the self. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that external praise and scorn are both illusions. The unforgettable woman embodies these truths instinctively. She no longer bends herself to be chosen, for she has chosen herself. And this is the paradox. The less she seeks to be remembered, the more impossible she is to forget. When she stands before others, she carries the aura of someone who does not negotiate her worth. This is why her memory pierces so deeply. For in a world that thrives on dependence and approval, she is a reminder that freedom is possible. She disrupts the illusion that validation must be earned, that love must be begged for, that attention is the measure of value. She does not demand your gaze, but you cannot look away. Such women are dangerous to fragile egos, for they expose what is hollow. They are also a balm to wounded souls, for they embody what is real. To encounter her is to confront a paradox. She is at once deeply human and profoundly archetypal, a singular individual and a timeless figure. This is why she cannot be erased from memory. She is both herself and something larger than herself, a carrier of myth, an awakener of destiny. And so, whether she is remembered with longing, regret, admiration, or fear, she is remembered nonetheless. Her essence lingers because she has touched the archetypal currents that flow through all human lives, and once touched, the psyche does not forget. What lingers most about such a woman is not what she said, but what she awakened. Words may fade, gestures may blur, but the imprint of her energy etches itself into the psyche. To meet her is to feel the boundaries of one's old life cracking, and even if you resist, the fracture remains. Jung understood that unforgettable figures are those who act as catalysts, pressing others into deeper awareness of themselves. She is unforgettable because she is not passive in the story of your life. She is a turning point, a threshold, a call to awaken. She may arrive softly, without announcement, but her presence alters the atmosphere. The world feels sharper, the air heavier with meaning. Encounters with her reveal truths about your own hunger, your own fears, your own longing for wholeness. She is unforgettable because she does not allow you to remain who you were before meeting her. She is change disguised as a person. To men, she often represents the anima in its most vivid form. This is not mere romantic fantasy, it is the eruption of the inner feminine projected outward. In her, he sees not only a woman, but the embodiment of what he secretly yearns for: connection to his soul, intimacy with the hidden waters of emotion, reconciliation with the softer yet powerful side of his psyche. That is why he cannot forget her, even if he tries. She holds the keys to the part of himself he has long ignored, but she is not bound by his perception. The unforgettable woman is more than a mirror of his inner world. She is also her own universe, shaped by her own trials. She becomes unforgettable not because of what others project onto her, but because she has integrated her own depths. Her power is not a borrowed illusion, it is self-created. She has faced betrayal and loss, abandonment and rejection, and instead of collapsing into despair, she has woven these wounds into a tapestry of resilience. When others encounter her, they do not just see a woman, they feel the gravity of her survival. To women, she becomes a figure both unsettling and inspiring. Her existence challenges the silent contracts of compliance. She embodies a freedom many have been taught to fear. The freedom of not needing approval, the freedom of walking away, the freedom of speaking a truth that might cost her comfort. She does not compete, for she knows her value is not comparative. She does not diminish herself to soothe the insecurities of others. Instead, she carries the posture of someone who has already looked into her own shadow and made peace with it. This peace radiates, and it cannot be ignored. In a sense, she becomes unforgettable because she embodies individuation, the very process Jung described as the union of opposites, the reconciliation of shadow and light, the emergence of the authentic self. Most people live as fragments, but she moves as a whole. This wholeness is magnetic. It does not need to demand attention, it naturally commands it. Others cannot forget her because they are starving for the same wholeness within themselves. And yet, such a woman is not without struggle. She often feels the weight of misunderstanding, for many cannot see her clearly. They project their fantasies, their fears, their unmet needs onto her, mistaking her depth for mystery, her boundaries for coldness, her independence for arrogance. But she knows these projections are not truly about her. They are reflections of the unclaimed parts of those around her. And it is this very knowledge that makes her untouchable, for she refuses to be defined by distortions. To you, listening now, consider what it means to encounter someone unforgettable. What does it awaken in you? Is it admiration or is it fear? Is it longing or is it resistance? Jung would say that what captivates you in another is often the reflection of your own unlived potential. Perhaps the reason she remains etched in your memory is not only because of who she is, but because of who you might become through her reflection. The Stoics remind us that what truly matters cannot be taken from you. Epictetus spoke of freedom as mastery over one's own mind. The unforgettable woman embodies this lesson. She cannot be erased because she does not tether her worth to external recognition. She exists in freedom, and freedom leaves an impression. Her sovereignty is a quiet revolution against a world that thrives on dependence. She does not ask for memory, yet she is remembered because she carries what others secretly crave, the unshakable peace of belonging to oneself. This is why she is unforgettable, not because she is flawless, but because she is whole, and wholeness, once glimpsed, cannot be unseen. The unforgettable woman is not bound by time. Years may pass, lives may change, but her essence lingers like a myth whispered in the background of memory. She becomes a story retold in silence, a symbol that shapes the way others understand themselves. Jung taught that the psyche is mythopoetic. It speaks in images, symbols, and archetypes rather than mere facts. When a woman touches this symbolic layer, she becomes more than flesh and blood. She becomes a living myth, and myths do not vanish with absence. To those who once loved her, she is remembered not as a fleeting romance, but as a rite of passage. She revealed truths they did not want to face. She demanded growth even when growth felt like death. In her presence, they experienced both ecstasy and despair, because she embodied not only the dream, but the shadow of what they feared to confront. Such contradictions are not easily forgotten. They live on in memory precisely because they resist resolution, and to herself she remains unforgettable because she has claimed her life as her own. She no longer bends her spine to the weight of expectation. She carries the wisdom of wounds transmuted into strength. She has touched rejection and betrayal, but wears them now as invisible jewels, reminders of what she has survived. She is not defined by the love she has lost or the approval she has gained. Her selfhood is forged from within, and such authenticity shines with a light that memory cannot dim. For you listening, perhaps you know the weight of such remembrance. Perhaps you recall a woman who seemed to haunt your thoughts, not because of what she did, but because of how she made you see yourself. Or perhaps you recognize in your own spirit the potential to become such a woman, to no longer chase validation, to no longer barter worth for affection, to no longer apologize for being both soft and fierce. The unforgettable Wabiutioutsauti Jatins. A man is not born. She is created in the crucible of self-confrontation. The Stoics would say she has mastered what others have not. Detachment from illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote that external praise is nothing but sound, and external blame nothing but breath. The unforgettable woman knows this in her bones. She does not live for applause, nor does she crumble under disapproval. Her compass is internal, her direction unmoved by the storms of perception. This calm in the midst of chaos is precisely why others remember her. She stands as a fixed star while the world spins in confusion. But make no mistake, her journey is not without pain. To reach this wholeness, she has been misunderstood, diminished, sometimes even vilified. The world often resents what it cannot control. Yet every attempt to reduce her has only made her more unshakable. She has discovered that to belong fully to herself is to lose the approval of many, but also to gain the freedom of eternity. And freedom has a presence that leaves a mark.